And we're back. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. We're with Barry Dyke talking about guaranteed income, guardrails for your money. So Professor Kotlikoff, this is, he's sort of railing against the thing. He goes, the whole goal of our life is not to accumulate wealth so people can charge us fees on our assets. It's having the best lifestyle we can given our resources. And this is so we don't end up living on the street if the market crashes or the house burns down or we live to be 100 years old. So I've had him. He's been on my show over the years and he's changed. He's gotten more and more conservative. And what's interesting is, and they go, well, how do you have your own money invested? And he goes, it seems to me that the stock market is overvalued and dependent on Federal Reserve support and commitment to low interest rates. And I view that as an unsupportable policy. So I view the stock market as very risky. About half of my investments are in cash. I got to get him on. I'm going to have him on again in a week or two, try to get him. And that's sort of where you would say, maybe half should have guardrails. So your belief in, let's say, insurance as a vehicle, it's not like you're one of these people promising returns that aren't existing. You sort of like what I just call tin can money, meaning you want your money to just be there, right? You're kind of like Larry Kotlikoff in some ways.
Yeah, well, Will Rogers said it, was in the 1930s, I'm not so concerned about the return on my money, but the return of my money. And this is something we've forgotten in America. We're and it's we merchandising and as a result. Now this is research, Josh. This is a good one for your viewers. All right, where do you think the U.S. stands in World League tables in terms of its the retirement systems? In terms of in the top 20 countries, where do you think? Who do you think is number one? First of all, who do you think runs the best retirement system, Josh?
The best retirement system of countries?
Yes, yeah. I'm looking at me because Mercer does a
I'm going to say Sweden.
Close, no cigar. It was actually Holland. The Netherlands actually has the best system, and as a matter of fact, this is true because I've actually communicated with the Dutch government about this. Do you know? And it's all built upon defined benefit plans, and they're smart. They use low interest rate assumptions and conservative interest rates return, not this crazy stuff we use here in the U.S., which is totally fictitious. But they use interest rates and investment rates return, Josh, about 3.5%. But in defined contribution plans, which they're all somewhat similar, 401ks here, they call them RSPs in Canada, and then something similar in the UK. Do you know in Holland you have to take your defined contribution or your 401k plan as a annuity? You can't take it all at once as part of the law. Now, but as a result, we're.
Hey, by the way, Sweden is number 6. So off the top of my head, that wasn't bad. Number 1 is Netherlands. Number 2 is Denmark.
Yeah, where's all right, so you Google. So where's the U.S.?
Number
18?
3, Israel. Number 4, Australia. Number 5, Finland. Number 6, Sweden. The U.S. is, I don't even think it's in the top 30. It's not even in the top 39.
We're 18. We're next to
we're 18.
Malaysia.
Yeah, we are 18. I see you now, 18.
So the whole thing, so just looking back, and this is why I'm redoing this, it's going to be a new book, Guaranteed Income 2.0 Reset, and why people shouldn't be putting their money in private equity for retirement. But so what I'm saying, well, the Dutch are the best. Well, how do they do this? And so they're putting guardrails around their money. They're using conservative investment rates of returns, and it's just a better way to do it.
But why do you like annuities? I thought they're a ripoff. Meaning, what what about people say, well, if you put your money in annuity, there's risks. The insurance company could go down, whatever. All those risks that you hear about.
Au contraire, well, they really don't know much about not about. Well, first of all, during the past 100 years, not one person has lost a dime of principal, either in Canada or the U.S. In terms of principal, you can't say that about mutual fund business. You can't say that about Wall Street. You can't say that about Bear Stearns. You can't say about Lehman Brothers. I go on and on and on. Okay, or Barclays, or or Lloyd's, or all these other companies that went under. The thing is that.
What about AIG? What happened with them?
Well, actually, the funny thing is the AIG, actually the life in the health division was very, 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 very solvent. And actually, when AIG collapsed in 2008 because of the credit default swaps on their investment banking division in London, AIG collapsed because of the credit default swaps business, which essentially was selling insurance policies without any reserves. But
that was not a life insurance policy or an annuity. That was really an investment banking product. It was had nothing to do with the fixed annuities or
had nothing
life
to do with it.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, when AIG, before they get in the bailout, actually they wanted to go after the life reserves, and even I think Ben Bernanke once in his life said something like, "You can't go after the reserve of the life company because this is to protect the policyholders." So this is one of the reasons why AIG was bailed, and then was bailed out. But the whole thing, the life division, health division of AIG was very, 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 very solvent. There was no problem whatsoever.
Some of our listeners remember what about mutual benefit or executive life? Didn't they go under?
Yeah, well, executive life. Well, this is why people have to get my next book because I talk about the collapse of executive life, and that was the collapse of executive life, folks. Get the book. You don't believe me? It was run by Fred Maher, who ran a mutual fund business. He ran it, and he stuffed it with junk bonds, junk bonds with no collateral that collapsed. Leon Black bought it and then sold it to Credit Lyonnais, and he made a fortune. That's how he created Apollo Global Management. But the point is that not one person lost a penny with executive life, and that's kind of a classic collapse. But more recently, we've seen this with a guy by the name of Greg Lingberg. I don't know if you've seen him down in North Carolina. He was running the Global Bankers Insurance Group, and he was using life insurance reserves. And then we've seen other companies like Guggenheim and things like that use them. So I don't want to get into too much detail on this stuff, but when you look at a mutual company, you just don't have all these conflicts of interest. And,
so how do you make sure you have a good company? Look at the Comdex, look at the AM Best, Standard & Poor's.
Well, they need a guy like you, Josh. You can't buy this experience off the internet. Sorry, and you just can't. They're not going to come up with a. I don't know. Not yet. I don't know how Orwellian we've gotten yet, but there's no algorithm to beat experience.
Yeah. It's
like today, if people give me all their financial stuff within an hour or two, generally I can figure out what to do. But
there's no algorithm for Barry and Josh's brain yet. So
no, there isn't. Thank you, God.
Yeah. So
thank you, God.
Basically,
Go ahead.
So you like insurance company as arbiters of savings. What about people go, you don't really make much on them? What are you going to make on them?
Well, you don't make any money in the market either. I mean, unless you're, I know, but the market's being all, the sad thing is, Josh, is that the Federal Reserve is just printing all this stuff up, and this is going to be a corrections like I know it's all the signs now, and I'm following this pretty quick. It's actually worse than prior to 29, so I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just saying when this thing goes, life companies will be the safest place. I don't know what the future is, but
and that's because they hold treasuries.
Treasury. They're not levered, Josh. Okay, they're not levered. A life company, for every dollar you put into a life company, they have to account for every single dollar. If I'm putting my money into a bank, and this is since the repo market froze up in September 2019 is all true, the banks have no requirement to have any reserves. No requirement for reserves.
Wow.
So, but a life company has to say, if they have my $10,000, your $10,000, or $100,000, or $1 million, they have to account every freaking penny of that. A bank, we do what we want to do. Don't believe me? People Google what happened.
Yeah,
in
fractional
September
reserve
2019.
versus legal reserve. We'll talk about
Yeah,
that.
and so the fractional reserve has now just been blown up since the repo market blew up in 2019 in September. So when you look at it, life companies are still, when you analyze it, like, who's safe? It's like, and so I don't have all the answers, Josh, but when you look at it, it's really a safe place. Now, the whole thing is that I'm getting nothing from insurance companies. Full disclosure, I'm just a guy trying to help people out. I get nothing from any insurance companies. I have spoken to events, but I have nothing. They've absolutely not one penny from any of these guys, because they have their problems too. But that's why they need people like you.
So the real
you
thing
Josh.
is, it's sort of like the cleanest dirty shirt in the laundry pile, or.
There you go. David Stockman. That's a great David Stockman.
But basically, you have $1. So the fundamental reason, if you were to say why you like insurance companies, annuities, things of that nature, not variable but fixed products, if I remember correctly, is the legal reserve, where they have to have $1 backing every dollar, versus fractional reserve, where you could have 10 cents backing every dollar. That's the fundamental reason, and as a place for savings, not investing where there's risk. Not that you're anti-market. You own a registered investment advisory firm.
I manage money for people. I'm not
we'll talk about
that.
How do equities interplay with what you do with insurance and annuities? When we return, this is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. We'll also talk about, it's college football season. And you've done, Barry's done a lot of work on what college football coaches do with their money. I wanted to bring up Jim Harbaugh and some of the other, Dabo Sweeney, all these people doing stuff with life insurance and annuities and don't even realize it. Lou Holtz, others.
I got a new one too, Pocahontas.
Well, we'll talk about Pocahontas next. When we return, this is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. And if you want Barry's latest book, call us 888-988-JOSH. We'll throw it in for free when you schedule and keep your no-obligation review. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial. And we're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, with Barry Dyke, author of Guaranteed Income. So you're worried about the stock market, casino, excessive risk. You like annuities and I guess I would say fixed annuities and fixed insurance from well-rated companies that are highly capitalized, generally mutual insurers. You don't like what's going on with some private equity as well in insurance. We'll talk. That's a concern of yours. So it's not merely you gotta watch that, folks. It's not just every insurance company. But you do own a registered investment advisory firm. You're not anti-market. How does the market interplay with more conservative assets like insurance and annuities? How do you, so if I'm a 65-year-old and I got, $500,000 to invest, we're not giving investment advice here, but how do you see an overall portfolio mix potentially? So the annuities and insurance would act as like a bond component?
Yeah, well, the whole thing, first, Josh, we do a plan, so we crunch the numbers. We do a lot of calculations for people. You look at their asset picture, their mortgages, their debt, what they want to do, what their goals are, how many kids they have, how many grandkids they have, whatever. So it is very, very comprehensive, cash flow, all that stuff. So, but one of the most important thing in retirement is the income stream. And until you have that, there's no. And so most of my clients are between 55 and 78 primarily, although I have some clients that roll. But so the first thing really is to get all their income pictures tight. Get that really tight. So if they want to invest in some stocks, fine, just do it. Matter of fact, I just did one. I just did a plan for a client, and we put $2 million in annuities, and he inherited some money, like $400,000 or $400,000 with Raymond James. He says, I want to keep that going. I said, fine. He doesn't have to worry, Josh. I mean, he's going to have him and his wife have an income for life for $220 for life. So he has that freedom, okay? And but for most people, the first thing is really to get that income stream, so they don't have to worry about it when they get sick or hurt, or one of them goes into a nursing home and things like this. So so I have no problem with equities at all, because I know the market's going to keep going up as long as the Fed keeps printing money. We know that because they're forcing people into the market. So I have no problem with that. But my point is, get the fundamentals down first. Get your seatbelts on. You know what I mean? Make sure you have good tires and everything's working well. And
all season radial tires.
All-wheel drive, so you can go anywhere. Okay.
And that. It really isn't that difficult. I see people. I'm sure you see them. They're agonizing. They have X number saved for retirement. And then they're worried about the market, and they're worried about this. And then they got they got enough money saved up where when you add up Social Security plus maybe guaranteed sources of income, they could get $100,000 a year, 150 or 200, and then risk the rest. Don't risk your monthly nut. That's a very, don't be greedy though. It's like,
don't be greedy.
A lot of people, they want to get 20% a year, but they can't afford a 40 or 50% drop. So be okay with, 3, 4, 5% for 50% of your money, 60% of your money. Take risk with 20 or 40%. Don't risk the whole nut. I mean, too many people, and that's if you've obviously accumulated enough savings. Some people haven't, but too many people take risk when they don't need to. Like, it's excessive because they're, people are prone to that fear and greed cycle, and you see it now.
FOMO.
Like they have
fear
FOMO.
of missing out. Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And this is what's being sold by all the cable channels and everyone else, and it's just, and the thing is, the cable channels make all their money by advertising. They don't make their money in the market, and so it's a. So my whole point with people, go to BarryJamesDyke.com. People, they should. They'll know when the movie comes out. So I have a free mailing list thing, but people should just get back to the basics. Okay,
I'm kind of annoyed, Barry, that I wasn't invited to be on this TV show.
It's a movie. Is that a movie?
Yeah, but I have a face for radio. It's perfect.
I just done the research, Josh. I don't know. It's not your time yet. Maybe this. I don't know. Who knows? But this is the reason. So
you're a movie star now, Barry.
No, I'm just a guy from New Hampshire. With a computer. And it's just. I mean, it's just, and money's not my God. Thank you, God. And I like money. Okay. I like nice things, but I have two beautiful cars. How many can you drive at once? Any event. So, but this is what's going on. The greed is just it's really kind of the and the inequality is really upsets me now, because it's actually worse than it was prior to 29. So, but that's but we need guys like Josh. We need you, my man. I'm so proud of you. I remember you. When I first met you in Connecticut, boy, you've come a long, long way. I'm very, very, very proud of you. You've done a great job, and you're helping a lot of people.
So
you really are.
So what is the latest? You always have new insights and new research. What's your latest research?
Well,
you said Pocahontas. What is she doing with her money?
Oh, Pocahontas. St. Elizabeth Warren. Okay, gee. And this is going to be in the book, by the way. Go to BarryJamesDyke.com and get on the mail list when it's released. Yeah, so as you know, in 2015, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and actually, I'm a political atheist, but I like what she says about private equity. But she came with this scathing report how bad the annuity industry was. So, being the nerd I am, I said, well, let's see where Pocahontas has her money. So she essentially put out this scathing report about some of the companies which are very high quality companies. I've done business with them, saying this is BS. But in any event, so she had to do. She ran for president a little bit, so she had to do a full financial disclosure. And her husband have, I don't know, about $4+ million in fixed annuities. Hello.
That's funny. Yeah.
Hello. So this is the type of hypocrisy. I mean, it's all over. So
I mean, she's a college professor, so most college professors have a significant amount in annuities usually with their companies. The other thing, though, I think she was rightfully decrying some of the abuses in the industries and
the chicken dinners and all that stuff. And I don't disagree. I don't disagree with Elizabeth. Okay, because Josh, you're not like a lot of other guys. A lot of advice in this industry, and they don't read nothing. They didn't research anything.
Well, I think she read your book. If you remember a lot of her early comments in 2008 to 2011, it seemed very similar to reading Pirates of Manhattan.
But my point is, so someone like Elizabeth Warren, who but my point is that's where she has her own money in, and that's
so she is a lot very conservative as well.
Well, yeah, and she's an attorney, so she understands contracts. Hello.
Yeah.
She's an expert in bankruptcy. Hello. What's the bankruptcy attorney buying? She's buying fixed annuities, and this is my point is that and you'll see this when the book comes out, Josh. You haven't seen this research.
Well, we've got to take our final break of the hour. We'll only be back with some more insights from Barry Dyke, author of the book Guaranteed Income, which will be your free gift when you schedule and keep your no-obligation review at 888-988-JOSH. Always love hearing from Barry about what other people are doing with their money. I don't know where he always gets this information, but he researches the public disclosures where does Janet Yellen have her money? Where does this person have their money? He can tell you, okay, Janet Yellen has a $4 million annuity with blah, blah, blah. It's interesting. So I always like to know, where do these people have their money? And he figures it out. So, folks, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. We'll be back after these messages.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jelensky Advisory Group.
Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-Star Wealth Manager, Advisory of the Year finalist by Senior Market Advisor, and top of the $1 Million Roundtable, are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Josh Jelensky or Wealth Quarterback LLC. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Wealth Quarterback website at www.jelensky.org. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to affect transactions in securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions, the information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Josh Jelensky and Wealth Quarterback do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature, is provided for informational purposes only, and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback LLC.